check here very quickly on Kevin's deck list for Mantis Rider. There are the 4.
Of course.
It's Kevin Jones. Of course there are 4.
He's playing a bit of a bigger build here.
He is.
Main deck Elspeth, main deck Ojutai's Command.
It's a little bit different from what we see Kevin typically play. He does have the dig through times. It seems like he always has that card. He's playing this sort of deck, and he's always playing Jeskai. Marshall going to play Dismal Backwater. As we are underway here in game number 3 of our second match of round 7. Again, Jones, you see the 2 next to his name up there. Technically in second place right now in the Season 2 leaderboard, but Jim Davis is on top, already qualified for our Players' Championship. So Kevin Jones right now, if we ended things today, he'd be going to the Players' Championship.
On a practical level, he is in first place.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not at risk of losing his 2 buys anytime in the near future.
No.
Jim Davis already qualified for the Players' Championship, so.
Jones will take a draw step here. You see the Seeker the way that he does have in play. He'll play a Temple of Epiphany. He's gone a little bit bigger after sideboard, too. He does have a Jace's Ingenuity in his sideboard, so it looks like he's trying to go toe-to-toe with the control deck.
And his deck's already been on the bigger side anyway, so it's natural for him to decide to try to slot into that game. I still think this is the type of game that Chris plays better, and it's not surprising to me to see Kevin on the play for game 3, implying that Chris won game number 2.
Chris going to play a Temple of Enlightenment. That top card is going to stay on top past that turn back. Jones will take a draw. Mystic Monastery is what he's found. We talked about the bigger package for him. Does have that Jason's Ingenuity in his sideboard that's in his deck. Narset Transcendent is a 1-of in his sideboard, a Negate, 2 copies of Prognostic Sphinx, and an Ugin as well. So Kevin has the ability to go really big and try to go toe-to-toe against a control deck. We'll see if it works.
I watched him in backup feature match off camera last round as things were winding down, and he was playing blue-black control, and I was really surprised to see some of the cards he was drawing. I did not know that his deck went that big while maintaining things like Steer of the Way, Goblin Route Master, Mantis Rider, and so forth.
Seeker will come across for 2 more points of damage. Marshall down to 16. He'll play land number 4 in Urborg. Pass the turn back over to Jones. Jones will draw a copy of Temple of Epiphany. He's going to keep serving in with this Seeker of the Way until Marshall deals with it. But for now, Marshall is going to use his life total as a resource. He's down to 14. Kevin will scry off that Temple. We'll see where he wants to put that card. That's going to stay on top. We'll pass the turn back over to Marshall. Marshall will draw. There's a Haven of the Spirit Dragon. Pass the turn back.
Kevin's got to be thrilled with how things are going thus far. Still a lot of action in his hand here, a bunch of spells, protection, disdainful stroke, and 6 damage already coming across here through the Seeker of the Way.
Here's a Rabble Master. There's a Dissolve. So Kevin loses that battle. But now here comes Seeker. And a little charge him ups. I apologize. It's actually a Crucible of the Spirit Dragon.
These are like the Time Spiral lands.
Yes.
But for dragons.
I was assuming it was a Haven of the Spirit Dragon, which is my mistake. A Crucible of the Spirit Dragon is a different animal altogether. You mentioned it. It is kind of like those Time Spiral lands, the fungal reaches.
Yep. Only works for dragons instead of anything.
Yep.
So not quite as powerful, but those lands were probably a bit of an overshoot.
Here's Salumga. That's not going to resolve. It's got to counter that one.
So now 8 points of damage here. Now 10, 11 points of damage from the Seeker of the Way.
Seeker of the Way getting busy. Elspeth going to make 3 soldiers. Pass that turn back. Marshall's certainly behind now. He's going to need something nice. Narset was the draw, and Narset's a pretty good card, but not in this situation.
And Kevin, with a big turn there last turn with Elspeth, being able to advance his board in a way that doesn't play into Crux of Fate. So Chris getting hit from multiple angles right now. If he taps out to answer the board, Kevin gets to untap and do his own stuff.
There is Narset. Don't forget, too, the entire time that we've been playing this game, Kevin has had access to Jason's Ingenuity. Hasn't need to cast it.
Yep.
Doing just fine without it. Marshall going to sacrifice the blue to Delta. Cast this Narset. It's going up. Take a look at the top card. Pass that turn back. Jones will untap and draw. Also has dig through time in hand, so he's trying to go toe-to-toe with the control deck, and he's doing a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of beating Chris on the front end here, and is not necessarily behind when we get to the back end, too. Just excellent here for Kevin.
I'm sure Kevin would like to try to close it out this turn if he can. He's got 5 points in play. If he can play 3 spells and Marshall has nothing, life is good. We'll see if that's actually the case, however.
Well, Kevin also has to determine whether or not he wants to go ahead and Narset or not.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of loyalty to go after.
Yep. But you can imagine if you don't go after the Narset, Chris might have enough removal spells and just ways of stabilizing where suddenly the threat of his Narset going to ultimate is a real thing.
Yeah, Kevin very unsure of himself right now and what he wants to do. He says, all right, now I think it's time to come in. It's going to Chris. So Marshall's going to go down to 3. Here comes 3 soldier tokens. And Kevin, with some card drawing available at this point, anticipates going to be cast here by Chris. See if Kevin has something he wants to do in response. Again, Jason's ingenuity and dig through time in hand. He's going to dig. We'll take a look at the top 7. Of course, take 2 with him. And then we'll see if Anticipate resolves or not.
I'd be surprised if Lightning Strike was still in his deck here post board. But that would wrap the game up right now. And even as it stands, you know, Chris is in a bad way.
Dragon Lord Road to tie, ultimate price, dig through time. Ultimate price looks to be the weapon of choice here for Marshall. Though he'll take a look at the hand. There we go. Bottom shelf. To Chris we go. Time to draw. Can Narset climb him back into this game? We're going to see some rebounding. Crux of Fate.
So that handles everything in play. Now, obviously, plus Elspeth and the follow-up on the way back.
Is there a counter spell? There's a Valor Stance. All right, Slumgar Scorn. We'll counter that.
Getting a hard counter, though, out of Valor Stance in this matchup is also a victory here.
That's
Kevin.
awesome, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Marshall tapped out. Fingers crossed, hoping for the best. Again, Crux of Fate will be rebounded so long as Chris does remember. And we saw Tom miss it last game.
Yep. I would imagine this is the entire point of the line that Chris has selected here, so I would be surprised.
Step 1 is a Shivan Reef. Elspeth moving up. Soldier tokens will enter the battlefield. There's 4 mana. That'll be Narset for Kevin Jones. Starts with 6. It's already going up to 7. Take a look at that top card. It's going to stay on top.
And this is just another dimension to the attack now that Kevin's producing. Even if Marshall's able to keep the board contained and protect his health total, he's got to be able to get Narset off the board before that goes ultimate.
The rebound on Crux of Fate's good to go. Chris Marshall at 3, however. And this is where things do get a little interesting. Drown in Sorrow was the draw. We know Dragonlord Slumgar is in hand. He'll cast one. And there's no Jatai's command. That's pretty good. That's actually really good.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Counter that and get Seeker of the Way back. Narset's going to tick up. Pass the turn back, and we know Kevin has a spell in his hand.
Ojutai's command been doing a little bit of work this weekend.
It's weird because it's so easy to want to compare that card to Cryptic Command, and it's certainly not Cryptic Command. So now all of a sudden, because it's not as good as Cryptic Command, people are like, oh, okay, then I guess it's just not that good. It's just so much different.
Yeah, imagine. Well, first of all, there's still a lot of room in between Cryptic Command and a playable card.
Yes.
I mean, people made the same critique of War Leader's Helix as being worse than Lightning Helix. Well, guess what? There's a big gap between those two things. And then there's some spots where it does some things like Cryptic Command can't do, like what we just saw there.
Yeah, bring that creature back in the situation and run away with it. Kevin Jones going to win this match over Chris Marshall, 2-1. Jeskai Aggro will take care of Esper Control. It's a deck that Kevin Jones is very familiar with. We saw him play it basically all year long last year once Constar Here came out. Saw it at the Players' Championship too. He's always got Mantis Rider in his sleeves when we're playing Standard Magic. He keeps on winning with it.